this idea of all of these clinical trials and the utility of having this open access, I wonder about maybe publishing, and this is probably crazy, but the idea of publishing a clinical trial design construct before it even goes out. Just strictly because I'm a PUFA metabolism guy. I'm actually a lot more on the molecular side, not clinical trials, but the problem with all of looking at the data of whether omega-3s, omega-6s, Mediterranean diet, et cetera, have benefits to cardiovascular health is so many of these trials have been grossly statistically underpowered and badly constructed from the scientific standpoint. And in fact, a lot of...
We want to, and we encourage. There's a problem with design, because one of the real problems with design is that people start with one trial and finish with another trial and do, thing. And that's, so yeah, the publishing designs is really great. And
so the journal would consider publishing nothing but the construct itself, with the statistics and everything.
There are papers that publish. I mean, certainly cancer. We see it all the time of definitive phase 3 trial design will be published, knowing that the results won't come for years. But what is lacking is commentary, right? And so what you won't see then is the critique then in prospective critique to say, well, okay, this is it's fine that they made this decision to to construct this way, but it won't address these 4 important elements, and therefore others should be thinking about independent studies that would address those elements. And that dialogue doesn't happen in this. One of the benefits of this getting the design published and then reviewer critique commentary coming thereafter is it helps to shape that for group discussion.
By the way, we want to publish, and we ask people to publish, and we have some publications of ideas, of conceptual ideas, of projects planned, of musings, of reviews, of critics, not just research. Essentially the idea is to open, or we don't call it open access, we call it open science. Open the chances to speak to each other. There is no restriction of space, and there is effectiveness of finding what's needed. It's good to speak.
I think there's just aligned with this. In central nervous system, there have been a lot of failed clinical trials. And there's often an open question as to whether the hypothesis was tested because, for example, people don't show, this is technical, but they don't show target engagement. And so the publication of design is important, but the iterative, if a referee were to just state, negative trial, positive trial, but what we really don't know is whether this hypothesis is dead or whether somebody should do it again. We're in this difficult transitional period. The pharmaceutical industry is not necessarily keen to publish all of these things, but I think in the long run, people have begun to realize that expensive, duplicative research is not in anyone's interest, and I think these kinds of models could be very, very helpful.